Oh, man. A pet and a faithful son and many more pets are faithful than sons are faithful. But a faithful pet and a faithful son will be grateful. It will draw them closer to their Father. And that's what Psalm 107 is about. God is full of compassion. And the fact is, He is showing kindness to you and to me every single day of your life. Every breath we take, every sip of water that we enjoy, every morsel of food that we enjoy, every moment of health and rest and happiness, all of these things we already know are gifts from God. They are, in fact, so much a part of our lives that we take them for granted. But God knows us better than ourselves. And you know, He is not content with providing us with blessings. He insists that we should know the giver. And we are far better off by knowing Him, otherwise we are wild beasts. So you can properly say that God allows us to get into trouble so that we will cry out to Him in our trouble so that He may indeed manifest His kindness toward us. Now, this is really, I guess this is one of the first points, simply that this is a partial answer to the age-old question, if there is a good God, why is there evil in the world? And the answer is because God's good. Why? Yes, evil is in the world because God is good. We deserve the evil that comes, but our recognition of how terrible evil is and our crying out to God in our trouble is what prepares us for the blessings that God has in store for us to draw us closer to Himself. Trouble makes us cry out to God. And then God answers our cry and meets our needs. And when that happens, as David says here, let them give thanks to the Lord for His unfailing love and His wonderful deeds for men. For He satisfies the thirsty and fills the hungry with good things. We need to remember that the first Thanksgiving took place with a very strong element in the minds and hearts of the pilgrims of just how narrow was their escape from perishing in the cold Atlantic. And their narrow escape, even once they got here over the Atlantic and had to suffer through that terrible winter of deprivation in which so many starved to death and so many froze to death. Those who survived those things knew what it was to have a thankful heart. Maybe our own Thanksgiving days today would be much less about parades and merchandise and football, and more about Thanksgiving if we knew more what it really means to suffer want. Do I dare to say perhaps it would be a good thing if God gave us harder times? Harder times than we've yet known? Harder times that would help us to see how much God cares for us every day. You know, we take it for granted. In fact, we take it as our right to have these things. We complain when we have trouble. We complain when we're inconvenienced. We complain when someone takes our parking spot. Right? And it was only 20 feet to the entrance of the Red Food anyway. It rained on our day. We're the king, right? What are we thinking? But we have this sense of entitlement. Proud. Selfish. Well, sometimes God has to exercise tough love in order to get our attention, like he does in the next scenario. Some sat in darkness and the deepest gloom, prisoners suffering in iron chains, for they had rebelled against the words of God and despised the counsel of the Most High. So he subjected them to bitter labor. They stumbled, and there was no one to help. They were in great shape. That last phrase is not in the text, but that's exactly where they are. God has put them in the right position to be blessed. You know what's coming next in the text here. They cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them from their distress. Specifically in this case, he brought them out of darkness and the deepest gloom and broke away their chains. You know, the Bible does not shrink from saying that God is sovereign, that he is in control of history. What happens to mankind happens by the permission of the High King. Nothing escapes his notice, and nothing fails to follow his plan. And the Bible does not soft pedal the evil that men must endure. They hunger and thirst. Their lives ebb away, or they are thrown into prison. They are bound by hard labor, and they are tied by great chains. It is not a pretty picture. But contrary to what the atheist thinks, the Bible does not deal with fairy tales. It tells it the way it is. Mankind is in trouble, terrible trouble. But our greatest enemy is ourselves. We are cast down in the darkness and in despair. But what a good thing it is to be there. Like the old hymn says, 'tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to be brought down where we ought to be. What a blessing it is to come to an awareness of how lost and how fallen and how in trouble we really are, so that we will cry out to the Lord in the midst of our trouble, and he will deliver us from our distresses. And what should be the outcome to his deliverance? Let them give thanks to the Lord for his unfailing love and his wonderful deeds for men, for he breaks down gates of bronze and cuts through bars of iron.